The water in the sink runs cold, but Maya doesn't move her hands away. 3 minutes. That's how long she's been standing here, fingers numb under the stream, watching the rust-colored stain circle the drain. The stain that wasn't there yesterday. The stain that smells like copper and fear. Cell 47, D block. Third bunk from the guard station. The water shuts off automatically. 7 seconds of flow, then nothing. She's counted it 214 times since Monday. Today is Thursday. Behind her, the door isn't locked. It should be. Lockdown ended 4 minutes ago, but her door never clicked. Everyone else's did. She heard them, one after another, a symphony of metal teeth finding metal grooves. 47 clicks. Hers wasn't among them. Maya's reflection stares back from the polished metal above the sink. Dark circles. Hollow cheeks. Hair pulled back so tight it pulls at her temples. She looks like her mother now. She hates that. The door creaks. Not opening. Just settling. The way old things do when pressure changes. But there's no wind in here. No drafts. Just recycled air that tastes like disinfectant and something else. Something that makes the hair on her neck stand up. She turns slowly. The hallway beyond her cell is empty. That's wrong. There's always movement during shift change. Guards walking, inmates shuffling to assigned posts, the kitchen crew heading to prep. But now there's nothing. Just fluorescent lights humming their monotonous song and shadows that seem too dark for mid-morning. Maya takes one step toward the door. Then another. Her cellie, Ray, hasn't come back from the showers. She left 20 minutes ago. The showers are a 4-minute walk. 6 if you stop at the guard desk to get your name checked off. 8 if Martinez is working. He likes to make you wait, likes watching you shift from foot to foot while he pretends to look for your number on his clipboard. Ray's been gone 20 minutes. The sheet on Ray's bunk is folded wrong. Military corners, tucked tight, not a wrinkle. Ray never makes her bed like that. Ray barely makes her bed at all, just throws the blanket vaguely in the direction of the pillow and calls it good. Maya's looked at that unmade bed every morning for 6 months. This bed was made by someone else. Maya's hands shake. She shoves them into her pockets, feels the small piece of plastic there, a toothbrush handle, filed down to a point over 3 weeks of patient work. It's not much. It's everything. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. The kind of footsteps that know they're being heard and don't care. Maya backs into her cell, puts her spine against the wall next to the door where she can't be seen from the hallway. Her breathing sounds too loud. Her heartbeat sounds louder. The footsteps stop. Right outside her door. A shadow falls across the threshold. Tall, broad-shouldered, wrong. Not Martinez. Not Walker. Not any of the guards whose shadows she's learned to recognize by shape alone. This shadow is new. This shadow waits. 1 second. 5. 10. Cell 47. The voice is female, quiet, almost gentle. You coming to breakfast, or do I need to write you up? Maya doesn't recognize the voice. She steps into the doorway, keeping her right hand in her pocket, fingers wrapped around the plastic point. The woman standing in the hall wears a guard's uniform, but the badge is blank where the name should be. Her face is unmemorable, the kind of face you'd forget the moment you stopped looking at it. Brown hair. Average height. Eyes that don't blink often enough. I'm coming, Maya says. The woman doesn't move. Your cellie said to tell you the eggs are good today. The woman tilts her head. You like eggs? Ray hates eggs. Hasn't eaten them once in 6 months. Told Maya the first day they met that eggs make her gag, something about the texture, the smell. Ray would never send that message. Yeah, Maya lies. Love eggs. The woman's mouth curves into something that might be a smile if smiles didn't require warmth. Good. The kitchen's been working hard. Hate to see the effort go to waste. She turns and walks away, her footsteps the same measured pace, echoing down the empty hallway. Maya counts them. 32 steps before they fade completely. She should go to breakfast. That's the rule. Breakfast, then yard time, then work detail. The routine is everything. Break routine, get noticed. Get noticed, get trouble. But Ray never came back. And that bed is still made wrong. Maya steps into the hallway. The lights flicker once, twice. When they steady, there's something written on the wall across from her cell. Fresh. The paint still wet enough to catch the light. 3 words in careful block letters. Don't trust Ray. The handwriting is hers. The cafeteria smells like industrial grease and fear. Maya sits at the third table from the left, back to the wall, facing the door. The position she's claimed for 6 months through careful negotiation and one well-placed elbow to a woman named Carver who thought seniority meant everything. It doesn't. Position means everything. You can't survive if you can't see what's coming. The eggs are gray. The toast is burned on one side, raw on the other. The coffee is the same dark sludge it's been every morning since she arrived. Everything is exactly the same as yesterday. Except for the 17 empty seats. D block holds 83 women. Cafeteria capacity is 90. Every morning, there are 7 empty seats, women in solitary, women in medical, women who've earned kitchen duty and eat before everyone else. 7 empty seats. Always 7. Today there are 24. Maya counts again. 24. The math doesn't work. There's no flu going around. No fight that would send 17 women to medical. No holiday that would change the kitchen rotation. But 17 women are missing, and no one else seems to notice. Across the room, Carver laughs at something her girlfriend says. 2 tables over, the Martinez crew plays cards with makeshift pieces torn from magazine pages. Near the door, a woman named Sophia reads the same book she's been reading for 3 months, or pretending to read while watching everyone's reflections in the window glass. Everyone eating. Everyone normal. Everyone pretending 17 empty seats is nothing. Ray sits at the table nearest the kitchen. Her back is to Maya. That's wrong too. Ray never sits with her back to the room. Never. But there she is, shoulders hunched, head down, shoveling eggs into her mouth like she hasn't eaten in days. Maya stands. The plastic toothbrush handle presses against her hip. She crosses the cafeteria slowly, casually, like she's just getting more coffee. No one looks at her. That's unusual. In prison, everyone looks at everyone. Survival means knowing who's moving and why. But today, eyes slide away before they can focus, like she's coated in something that makes her hard to see. She stops behind Ray's chair. Hey. Ray doesn't turn. Ray. Still nothing. Just the methodical scrape of plastic fork on plastic tray, over and over. Ray's left hand sits flat on the table, and Maya sees it, a small bruise on the wrist, dark purple, shaped like a thumbprint. Fresh. Maybe an hour old. Maya reaches out, touches Ray's shoulder. Ray spins so fast the fork clatters to the floor. Her eyes are too wide, the pupils blown so large there's barely any color left. Her lips move, forming words without sound. Get out. Get out. Get out. What happened? Maya whispers. Ray's mouth snaps shut. She looks at Maya like she's seeing a ghost, like Maya is the thing that doesn't belong. Then she picks up her fork, turns back to her tray, and starts eating again. The same mechanical motion. Scrape. Lift. Chew. Swallow. Maya backs away. At the guard station, Martinez sits with his feet up, reading a magazine about cars he'll never afford. He doesn't look up when Maya approaches. Doesn't acknowledge her presence at all until she knocks on the desk. What? He doesn't lower the magazine. I need to file a. No, you don't. You don't know what I'm going to say. Don't need to. He turns a page. Whatever it is, the answer's no. You got a problem, take it to your counselor. You got a complaint, file it in writing. You got free time, use it somewhere that isn't my desk. Maya's jaw clenches. My cellie is acting strange. Your cellie's in prison. Everyone acts strange. This is different. Martinez finally looks up. His eyes are flat, bored, the eyes of a man who stopped caring about anything years ago. Different how? Maya hesitates. How does she explain it? The wrong bed. The missing women. The message on the wall in handwriting that can't be hers but is. The way Ray looked at her like looking at death itself. She won't talk to me, Maya says finally. Martinez snorts. Lucky you. Some of us don't have that option. He goes back to his magazine. Maya turns to leave, then stops. Who was the guard this morning? The one checking cells during shift change. Same as always. Walker on evens, Davis on odds. There was someone else. No, there wasn't. I saw her. Brown hair, average height, blank name badge. Martinez's magazine hits the desk with a slap that makes Maya flinch. He stands slowly, his chair scraping against concrete. When he speaks, his voice is low and careful, the voice of someone choosing words that won't be recorded by the cameras overhead. Listen to me very carefully, 47. There was no guard with a blank badge. There was no one checking your cell. You were alone in your cell until lockdown ended at 0730, and then you went to breakfast like everyone else. That's what happened. That's what's in the log. That's what you remember. Understand? Maya's throat is dry. I understand. Good. He sits back down. Now get the fuck away from my desk. She walks back to her table. Her eggs are cold now. Her toast is gone. Someone took it while she was away, a small theft, a reminder that nothing is truly yours in here. Not food. Not safety. Not even the space you occupy. The empty seats seem to watch her eat. At 1100, the yard opens. Maya steps into weak sunlight filtered through razor wire and finds her spot near the basketball court, far enough from the fence to avoid suspicion, close enough to the building to run if needed. The yard is a chessboard of territories, each group claiming their square through violence or negotiation or simply being there first and refusing to move. The smokers cluster near the east wall. The runners circle the perimeter. The religious women gather by the water fountain, holding Bibles and speaking in low voices about salvation that never comes. And in the center, under the basketball hoop that hasn't had a net for 3 years, the shot caller holds court. They call her boss. No one remembers her real name anymore, if they ever knew it. 42 years old. Life sentence. 20 years in. Scars on her knuckles that spell out words in a language of violence only certain people can read. When boss speaks, people listen. When boss decides something, it becomes law. Boss is looking at Maya. Not obviously. Not directly. But Maya feels the weight of that gaze like a hand on the back of her neck. She doesn't look up. Doesn't acknowledge it. Just stands in her spot, hands in pockets, watching the yard like watching television. You deaf or something? The voice comes from her left. Maya turns her head slightly, sees a young woman, early 20s, new fish, still has that unbroken look in her eyes, standing too close to be casual. Boss wants to talk to you. I'm good here. Wasn't a request. Maya considers her options. Refuse and look weak. Go and risk whatever boss wants. There's no good choice. There never is. She follows the young woman across the yard. Boss sits on a bench that no one else is allowed to touch, her crew arranged around her like guards around a throne. 3 women Maya knows by sight. Vic, with the teardrop tattoo. Lena, who killed her husband with a hammer. And Trix, whose name is ironic because she never smiles. Cell 47, boss says. Her voice is sandpaper and smoke. Heard you been asking questions. I wasn't. Boss holds up one finger. Maya's mouth snaps shut. I don't care what you were doing. I care what it looks like. And it looks like you're noticing things. Boss lights a cigarette, contraband, but guards don't see what boss doesn't want them to see. Noticing things is dangerous. For everyone. I'm not trying to cause trouble. Trouble doesn't care what you're trying to do. Boss takes a long drag. Your Sally, Ray. She tell you where she went this morning? No. You ask. She wouldn't answer. Boss nods slowly. Smart woman, Ray. Knows when to keep her mouth shut. Another drag. You should learn from her. Maya's hands are sweating. What happened to her? Nothing happened. She's fine. Better than fine. She made a choice, and now she's got protection. Safety. All the things we want in here but don't get. Boss stubs out the cigarette on the bench. She's off limits now. You understand? Don't talk to her. Don't sit near her. Don't even look at her. She's not your Sally anymore. She's not your friend. She's nothing to you. They're moving her? Boss laughs, but there's no humor in it. Moving her. Yeah. Something like that. She leans forward. Listen, 47. I like you. You keep your head down, don't start shit, don't run your mouth. That's rare. That's valuable. So I'm going to give you some advice for free. Forget about Ray. Forget about the women who aren't in the cafeteria anymore. Forget about the guard with the blank badge. Just do your time, and in 8 years, You walk out of here. Simple. And if I can't forget? Boss's eyes go cold. Then you join the ones who aren't in the cafeteria anymore. The silence stretches between them like a wire pulled tight. We done? Boss asks. Maya nods. Good. Vic will walk you back to your spot. Make sure no one bothers you on the way. Vic falls into step beside Maya as they cross the yard. The teardrop tattoo under her left eye catches the light. Maya's never asked what it means. You don't ask about tattoos in here. You don't ask about scars. You don't ask about anything that might have an answer you don't want to hear. She's trying to help you, Vic says quietly. By threatening me? By warning you. There's a difference. Vic glances at the guard tower. This place has been running on certain rules for a long time. Boss keeps those rules working. Keeps us safe. Or as safe as we can be. Safe from what? Vic stops walking. From making the same choice Ray made. They moved Maya to cell 23 that afternoon. No explanation. No warning. Just Martinez showing up at her door with a box and telling her she has 10 minutes to pack her shit. Everything she owns fits in the box with room to spare. 3 books, a photo of her sister, 2 sets of prison blues, toiletries, and the toothbrush handle now carefully hidden in a sock. Cell 23 is on B block, 2 floors down, away from everyone she knows. Her new cellie is already there when Maya arrives, a woman in her 50s with gray hair and reading glasses perched on the end of her nose. She looks up from a book, nods once, and goes back to reading. Not hostile. Not friendly. Just neutral. Bottom bunk's yours, the woman says without looking up. I sleep light, so don't make noise after lights out. Don't touch my things, don't ask about my case, don't try to make friends. We are not friends. We are just 2 people who sleep in the same room. Clear? Clear. Good. Maya sets her box on the bottom bunk and sits down. The mattress is thinner than her old one. The springs dig into her back. From this angle, she can see out into the hallway, can watch the parade of women walking past. Women she doesn't know, faces she hasn't memorized, threats she hasn't learned to calculate. That night, Maya doesn't sleep. She lies on her bunk, staring at the ceiling, counting the cracks in the concrete. 47 visible cracks. Same number as her old cell. Coincidence? Probably. Everything's a coincidence until it isn't. At 0200, her cellie climbs down from the top bunk. Maya doesn't move. Doesn't acknowledge her. Just keeps staring at the ceiling while the woman crosses to the sink, runs water, washes her face. Normal nighttime routine. Except the woman doesn't go back to bed. She stands at the sink, water running, looking at Maya's reflection in the metal mirror. You're not sleeping, the woman says. No. Scared. Should I be? The woman turns off the water. What's your name? Maya. I'm Ellen. A pause. Your old cellie, Ray. She was my cellie before you got here. Before she got moved to D block. Maya sits up slowly. When was that? 6 months ago. Same day you arrived. Ellen sits on the edge of Maya's bunk. I thought you should know, Ray wasn't always like this. When she first got here, she was different. Strong. Angry at the right things. But then she started seeing the chaplain. The chaplain? Father Thomas. He's been here longer than most of the inmates. Runs the prayer groups, counseling sessions, last rites when someone dies. Ellen's hands twist together. Ray started going to his office every week. Private sessions. She said it helped. Said he understood her. And maybe he did. But after a few months, she changed. Stopped talking about her case. Stopped talking about appeal. Started talking about acceptance. About finding peace through surrender. That doesn't sound so bad. Doesn't it? Ellen meets Maya's eyes. She told me that some women in here, they are chosen. Special. That the walls can't hold them if they just learn to see differently. She said Father Thomas showed her the truth, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Maya's skin goes cold. What truth? She never said. Just kept going to her sessions, kept getting quieter, until one day she asked to be moved. Said she needed to be around women who understood. Women who'd been chosen too. And they moved her? Ellen nods. To D block. With the others. The pieces slide together in Maya's mind. The 17 empty seats. The way Ray wouldn't look at her. Bosses warning about women who aren't in the cafeteria anymore. How many others? I don't know. 20? 30? They all end up in D block eventually. All the women who start seeing Father Thomas and come out different. Ellen stands. I'm telling you this because Ray tried to get me to see him. Before she left. Said he could help me find peace. But I told her no. I told her I didn't want her kind of peace. What happened? She stopped talking to me. Just like that. Like someone flipped a switch. Ellen climbs back to her bunk. I've had 17 Shelleys since Ray. None of them stay more than a few weeks. They get moved to D block. Or they disappear. And then you showed up from D block, which means you're either like them, or you saw something you shouldn't have. Maya's throat is tight. I saw Ray. This morning. Something happened to her. Then you need to decide something. Ellen's voice drifts down from the top bunk. Do you want to survive, or do you want to know the truth? Because in here, you can't have both. The next morning, Maya requests a meeting with Father Thomas. Martinez looks at her like she's grown a second head. You're not religious. I'm reconsidering. Bullshit. My spiritual well-being is my own business. Not when it wastes my time. But he writes down the request anyway, probably because refusing would require more effort than agreeing. He'll see you Thursday. 1400, don't be late. Thursday arrives faster than Maya wants it to. The chaplain's office is in the old wing, past the medical unit, through a corridor that smells like mildew and broken dreams. Maya walks it alone, no guard escort, which should be against regulations but apparently isn't. The door at the end has a small brass nameplate, Father Marcus Thomas, Chaplain. She knocks. Come in. The office is small, cramped, filled with books and crosses and framed scripture verses on every wall. Father Thomas sits behind a desk that looks older than the prison itself, his hands folded, his face gentle and worn. He's younger than Maya expected, maybe 50, with kind eyes and a soft smile. You must be Maya. Please, sit. She sits in the chair across from him, keeping her back straight, her hands in her lap. Thank you for seeing me, she says. Of course. It's my pleasure. He leans back in his chair. What brings you here? Spiritual guidance? Confession? Or just someone to talk to? I want to understand something. I'm listening. Maya chooses her words carefully. My old Sally, Ray. She used to come see you. She did. A troubled soul seeking peace. I'd like to think our sessions helped. Did they? Father Thomas's smile doesn't waver. Why do you ask? Because she's not herself anymore. And I think it has something to do with whatever you talked about. The silence that follows is heavy. Father Thomas studies her face, his expression unreadable. Then he stands, walks to the window, looks out at the yard below. Ray found something in our sessions, he says slowly. Something most people spend their whole lives searching for. She found certainty. Purpose. A reason to accept her circumstances rather than fight them. By becoming someone else. By becoming who she was always meant to be. He turns back to face her. This place breaks people, Maya. It's designed to. The monotony, the violence, the hopelessness, it grinds down your sense of self until there's nothing left but survival instinct and rage. But what if I told you there was another way? A way to transcend the walls, to find freedom even in captivity. I'd say you're selling something. I'm offering something. Truth. Enlightenment. A community of women who've chosen to see beyond the illusion of imprisonment. He sits on the edge of his desk. You felt it, didn't you? In D block. The shift. The sense that something was different. Maya's hands clench. What did you do to them? I showed them the door. They chose to walk through it. That's not an answer. Father Thomas's smile finally fades. No, it's not. But it's the only one you're going to get from this conversation. Unless. He tilts his head. Unless you want to see for yourself. Experience what Ray experienced. Understand what she understands. And if I refuse? Then you'll spend the rest of your sentence wondering. Questioning. Never quite fitting in, never quite belonging, always on the outside looking in. He stands. Or you can trust me. 1 session. That's all I ask. If you don't like what you see, you never have to come back. Every instinct screams at Maya to run. But she thinks about Ray's empty eyes. The 17 empty seats. The women who disappeared. The truth Ellen warned her about. 1 session, she says. Father Thomas smiles. Wonderful. Let's begin now, shall we? No time like the present. He walks to the door, locks it with a key from his pocket. The click of the lock sounds like a cell door closing. Maya's hand moves to her pocket, finds the plastic point there. What are you doing? Ensuring privacy. These things work better without interruption. He gestures to the chair. Please, sit back down. Get comfortable. This won't take long. Maya doesn't sit. I changed my mind. I don't think you have. His voice changes when he says it, drops lower, takes on a resonance that seems to come from somewhere deeper than his chest. The lights flicker. The air grows thick. Sit. Down. Maya's legs fold beneath her. She's back in the chair, her body obeying against her will. Panic floods her system, but her muscles won't respond. She can't stand. Can't run. Can barely breathe. Father Thomas kneels in front of her, places his hands on her knees. His touch burns cold through the fabric of her prison blues. You wanted to understand, he whispers. So let me show you what lies beneath. The thing that lives in the walls. The thing that's always been here, in this place where hope goes to die. The thing that feeds on desperation and offers certainty in return. His eyes go black. Not metaphorically. Not artistically. Actually black, irises bleeding into sclera until there's nothing but darkness staring back at her. And in that darkness, Maya sees the truth. The prison isn't real. Or it is real, but it's more than real. It's a gateway. A threshold. A place where something ancient and patient waits for souls desperate enough to surrender themselves completely. Every woman in D Block, every woman who disappeared, made the same choice. Give up their identity, their resistance, their self, and in return receive peace. The peace of becoming nothing. The peace of ceasing to exist while still walking and breathing and occupying space. Father Thomas isn't a chaplain. He's a shepherd. A gatherer. A thing wearing human skin that's been here since the prison was built, maybe longer, collecting the lost and broken and transforming them into something else. Something that doesn't hurt anymore because it can't feel anything at all. And he's offering her the same choice. Join them, he whispers. Let go. Stop fighting. Stop being. I'll take away your fear, your anger, your pain. You'll never have to be Maya again. Isn't that what you want? Her mouth won't work. Her tongue is lead. But her hand still remembers. It slides into her pocket, fingers closing around the plastic point, and with every ounce of will she has left, Maya drives the weapon into Father Thomas's eye. He screams. The sound isn't human. It's something vast and furious, a noise that makes the windows crack and the walls shake. His hands release her knees, fly to his face, and Maya runs. She rips open the locked door. It opens easily now, like the lock never existed, and sprints down the hallway. Behind her, Father Thomas is still screaming, his voice echoing off concrete, following her like a living thing. She doesn't stop running until she reaches her cell. They find her in the morning. Maya hasn't moved from her bunk all night. Ellen tried to ask her what happened, but Maya couldn't form words. Couldn't explain what she saw. Couldn't process the truth that Father Thomas showed her before she stabbed him and ran. The guard who opens her cell door is Davis. His face is grim. On your feet, 23. Warden wants to see you. The walk to the warden's office is long. Too long. They take corridors Maya's never seen, pass through locked doors that shouldn't exist, climb stairs that lead to parts of the prison that aren't on any official map. Davis doesn't speak. Doesn't look at her. Just walks with his hand on his baton and his eyes straight ahead. The warden's office is at the top of the administrative building. The door is solid oak, not steel. The nameplate reads, Warden Margaret Holloway. Davis knocks. A woman's voice calls out, send her in. Maya steps inside. Warden Holloway sits behind a massive desk, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun, her face carved from granite. She's in her 60s, maybe older, with eyes that have seen things that would break most people. On her desk sits a file. Maya's file. Sit, The warden says. Maya sits. You assaulted Father Thomas. Yes. With a weapon. Yes. A weapon you crafted over several weeks in violation of prison regulations. Yes. Warden Holloway leans back in her chair. He lost his left eye. Permanent damage. He's being transferred to a civilian hospital for surgery. A pause. His pressing charges. Assault with a deadly weapon. Attempted murder. With your record, that's another 10 to 15 years minimum. Maya says nothing. Or, the warden continues, we could call it self-defense. Father Thomas locked you in his office. Attempted to assault you. You defended yourself. It would be your word against his, but given the circumstances, a prison chaplain alone with a female inmate in a locked room, I think we both know which story will be more believable. Maya's hands tighten on the armrests. Why would you do that? Because Father Thomas has been working in this prison for 23 years, and in that time, 47 women have disappeared from official records. Transferred out, supposedly. Released early. Died of natural causes. But I've been warden for 2 years, and I've looked at those files. Really looked. And none of them add up. The warden opens Maya's file, pulls out a photograph. It's Ray. But not the Ray Maya knows. This is Ray from her intake photo. Bright eyes, defiant jaw, a woman who still believed in fighting. Your cellie was one of them. She requested weekly sessions with Father Thomas 6 months ago. 3 months ago, she stopped filing appeals. 2 months ago, she requested a transfer to D Block. Last month, she tried to get you to see him too. How do you know that? I know everything that happens in my prison. Warden Holloway closes the file. I tried to stop him. Twice I recommended his transfer. Twice the state board refused, citing his excellent track record and the positive impact of his counseling program. So I did what I could, restricted his access, monitored his sessions, built a case that could finally get him removed. But you needed proof. I needed someone to see what he was doing and survive long enough to tell me about it. The warden's eyes are sharp. You're the first person in 2 years to attack him and escape. The first one who didn't come back changed. So I'm going to ask you one question, and I need you to be very honest. What did you see in that room? Maya's mouth is dry. How does she explain it? The thing wearing Father Thomas's skin. The darkness in his eyes. The truth about what this place really is. I saw a monster, she says finally. Something that shouldn't exist. Something that's been using this prison to feed on desperate women and turn them into something else. She expects the warden to call her crazy. To laugh. To have her dragged to medical for a psych evaluation. But Warden Holloway just nods. I thought it might be something like that, she says quietly. This prison was built in 1923 on the site of an old asylum. Before that, it was a workhouse. Before that, a colonial jail. This ground has been holding desperate people for 300 years. And something about that desperation. She trails off. Attracts things. Things that shouldn't exist but do anyway. You believe me? I believe that Father Thomas is not what he appears to be. I believe that women are being harmed in ways I can't fully understand. And I believe that you just gave me the excuse I need to have him removed from this facility permanently. Warden Holloway stands. Father Thomas will be charged with assault. He'll serve time in a federal facility, far from here, where he can't hurt anyone else. The women in D Block will be transferred to other institutions over the next 6 months. Quietly. Carefully. And you will keep everything you saw to yourself. Understand? What about Ray? The warden's face softens. Ray made her choice. I can't undo that. But I can make sure no one else has to make it. Maya's hands shake. So I just go back to my cell? Pretend none of this happened. You go back to your cell. You do your time. And in 8 years, you walk out of here alive and whole and yourself. Warden Holloway picks up her phone. That's more than most people get in this place. Davis escorts Maya back to B Block. She expects Ellen to ask questions. To demand explanations. But when Maya returns to cell 23, Ellen is gone. Her things cleared out. The top bunk stripped bare. A note sits on Maya's pillow, written in careful script. You made the right choice. Stay strong. Ellen. Maya crumples the note, lies down on her bunk, and stares at the ceiling. 47 cracks. Same as before. 3 days later, the prison holds an assembly. All inmates in the yard. Mandatory attendance. The warden stands on a platform, her voice carried by speakers that crackle with static. "I have an announcement regarding staff changes," she says. "Father Marcus Thomas will no longer be serving as chaplain for this facility. A replacement will be assigned in the coming weeks. All scheduled counseling sessions are cancelled until further notice." Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Maya stands near the back, watching faces. Most of the women look confused. Some look relieved. And in the far corner, near the east wall, the women from D Block stand together in a tight cluster. They're not looking at the warden. They're looking at Maya. Their eyes are empty. Their faces blank. They don't blink. Don't move. Just stare with the same hollow expression Ray had in the cafeteria. And Maya understands, with cold certainty, that removing Father Thomas didn't free them. It just left them incomplete. Things that used to be women, locked in a prison with no shepherd to guide them, no purpose except to exist. 47 souls trapped in bodies that will keep walking and breathing and eating gray eggs for decades, maybe longer, unable to die, unable to live, just here. Maya looks away. That night, she files down a second toothbrush handle. Just in case. And every morning, when she counts the cracks in her ceiling, she counts them out loud. 47. 47. 47. A ritual. A reminder that she can still count. Still think. Still be herself. Because in here, being yourself is the only victory that matters. The prison hums around her. The walls hold their secrets. The cameras watch but don't see. And somewhere in D Block, 47 women who aren't women anymore go through the motions of existence, waiting for something that will never come. Maya closes her eyes and counts to 47. Then she starts over. The prison has always been hungry. It just finds new ways to feed.